episode of the Solar Popcast. I'm Chad Kresser. This is my pal.
This is a monumental episode because this is the first time we've done this back to back.
First time we've done it back to back, but also this is the first type of this episode. Normally we do movie reviews or I've done interviews with people in the past, but tonight we have something different. Research?
Very minimal.
Surely you can't be serious.
Very minimal. Yes, we're covering Mission Impossible stunts because there is a new Mission Impossible movie coming out soon.
Possibly the final Mission Impossible, which would be a sad day in cinema.
But I doubt it's the final. They'll spin off something here.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. All right.
Want another one?
No, let's hope it's not the final.
Yeah, I think it's like the final of this part.
Final reckoning of this part. But how do you come back from the final reckoning and have something else?
Well, I think the problem here is no one was going for the title of Dead Reckoning Part 1, and so they had to switch it.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, they were like, oh, the title isn't, people aren't liking Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
So you're saying this should have been Mission Impossible
Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Yeah. It's kind of like the problem with the Rambo movies. First Blood was the first one. The second one was Rambo. First Blood Part 2. And then the third one was Rambo 3.
And the fourth one
It's
was
just a toss-up. Yeah, it's just a toss-up what they're going to do with the name.
But nothing's as bad as the Fast and Furious franchise.
Let's not even go into that.
Have you ever looked at those titles?
No, I have not, because I didn't care
It's
for the
ludicrous.
franchise.
It's ludicrous. It's absolutely...
I thought it was just Fast and Furious.
No, it's Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift, Furious.
So, and then they just went to like Fast and Furious 7 or something.
No, not even that.
Oh, so
It's like Furious 6, and then it's The Fast and the Furious.
So they're just making up. So, but they didn't put the numbers, so they're just making
Sometimes there's numbers, sometimes there isn't.
Right. All right. So anyway, Mission Impossible Tom Cruise,
Yes.
who has become famous for doing his own stunts,
Well,
which nobody does anymore, especially in the world of green screen and fakery.
and especially a big a star as Tom Cruise, you don't want to risk
You don't want to risk plastic surgery
or just killing him.
or death. Yes.
But the Mission Impossible movies have become known for their stunts, especially in the later movies. He keeps going bigger and bigger.
And bigger.
How could I increase the chances of me dying on the set of this film?
Wouldn't that be something they would have the footage if something went awry?
In like
From
4K.
in 4K and probably from 20 different angles.
And I bet Tom Cruise has it written, if I die, release that as the movie.
Does he have it release that as the movie, or don't ever release this?
I think he would have it, yeah.
I think he would. I think he would. Is the type of guy that would have it put that in the film.
Add that in the blooper reel.
You know, that's a blooper. Who?
Just some different guy for the later half of the movie.
You know, I think, don't they just save the stunt? Don't they save the death-defying, that's the last thing we're shooting, in case something does go
Oh, I bet they do, yeah.
In case something does go awry. We've got the movie in the can.
Anybody can.
Throw his dead body off the cliff now, make it look like something happened.
I mean, yeah, I'd assume.
Yeah, I would too. But you know, actually, they wouldn't even need him, I don't think, to finish these days. They could just CGI Tom Cruise.
Yeah, there's so much
Probably.
footage of him.
Yeah, they could just
You know.
fake it if something did happen. So all right, what do we got here? The top 7?
Well, yeah, the original plan was to do a list, biggest, baddest stunt from each Mission Impossible installment. There's 7 of them. That's why the list is at 7.
So far, but we know the 8th one.
We think. Now,
They show it in the trailer.
they show part of it. I don't know what it is. It's him hanging
Yeah.
on the wing of a plane
Yeah.
while he's moving.
Yeah.
He might be jumping from plane to plane.
I got a question about those planes, though.
Yeah?
The only time you ever use one of them biplanes anymore, like there's probably only 12 of them that actually work in the world. The only time they ever use them is in a movie because you need somebody climbing on the outside of them. And nobody flies those things anymore.
But somehow Tom Cruise has found
2
a
of
way.
them, yes.
He probably...
A red
those
one
are
and a yellow
probably
one.
his.
They probably are.
Yeah, who knows?
You know what I mean? Yeah, nobody flies those things anymore. The only time you see him in a movie is We need somebody jumping around on there.
This is actually like the only second time. This is probably the second time I've seen him. First time is in The Last Crusade.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be in the 30s, so there you go.
That makes sense. I haven't seen him since.
I think they had one in the Mad, Mad, Mad World. I remember that movie. They did some kind of plane scene in there, and that was from the early 70s. So yeah, there's like 3 of them left. They got 2 of them in this movie.
Probably crashed one.
Probably crashed one. So there's 1 left in the world.
All right. So
Anyway.
the video is, the stunts, 1 from each movie. However, Mission Impossible 3 didn't really have a stunt in comparison to these other movies. It's almost as if Tom Cruise had something to live for while they were filming Mission Impossible 3. I don't know if he had a kid. I don't know if that was...
Could have been a midlife crisis.
Yeah, all of a sudden he wants to live. But for whatever reason, there's not...
Which one is Mission Impossible 3? I don't recall.
His wife gets taken, and...
Is it the same lady that plays his wife in later films?
Yeah, who looks exactly like...
The other girl. I couldn't tell the difference for a while. I finally figured him out, though, because I've seen him in enough other movies.
But yeah, she gets taken, and then... Well, I don't know any actors' names outside Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But they put the bomb in his head, and she... You know what I mean?
Put a bomb in his head?
They put a bomb in Tom Cruise's head.
Maybe that was the stunt. Maybe it was an actual bomb. Could have went off at any minute.
Yeah.
That could have
It
been
opens up, they're in the helicopter. There's that big helicopter shootout in that factory. And he's with that other agent, but she ends up dying.
I don't remember. But the first 3, though, were kind of not...
It is
kind of the 4th one is where it's really got to be where it is today, right?
Yeah, it's really one of those franchises that somehow continuously gets better.
Yeah, and somehow survived the first 2.
First you'd think you would be like, all right, this isn't
enough
working.
of that. But yeah, they kind of totally shifted gears, and from the 4th one on, is really its own franchise without the.
And I feel like that's when they really start to be like, look at Tom Cruise,
action style,
do this stupid thing.
Yeah,
go buy a ticket.
Go buy a ticket. We've been buying them. Yeah, multiple tickets for each film, probably.
Yeah.
So I love the films. I love Tom Cruise.
Good job.
I love it.
Good job, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. All right.
So, anyways, there isn't one for Mission Impossible 3.
Okay, so there's not one for Mission Impossible 3 on the list, unless we count the bomb in his head.
It could be real, could not. But I do
gave him his motivation.
I would love to find out if he just had his kid or something.
That would be interesting. Maybe they say that Tom Cruise is one of the stars that will follow you back on Instagram if you follow him. You can look at a list of look it up out there.
He's got followers.
Look up the stars that will follow you back on Instagram. Most likely stars to follow you back. He is one of the top 10 most likely stars. So I followed him on. My point is, I followed him on Instagram. Maybe he will follow. He hasn't yet.
Maybe he'll see this.
Maybe he'll see this, and he'll want to be on the show, and he'll say yes. At Mission Impossible 3, that point in my life, here's what was happening.
I had a will to live.
I had a will to live. Since then, I've thrown it out the window. For your entertainment.
Who knows?
Who knows?
He was crazy for a while.
Yeah, he was amazing that he bounced back from that. I think there's a Netflix special about Tom Cruise, and they talk about that. He was at the height, and then he kind of
that whole Scientology was jumping on Oprah's couch.
The whole thing like that, and he remade himself into an action star because he used to be like a serious actor,
a heartthrob.
He went from heartthrob to serious actor to action hero,
and he did Minority Report in Vanilla Sky in the middle of those. Those are cracked out movies.
Minority Report is sweet.
Yeah.
Vanilla Sky, I don't quite get that. I never quite got. I probably saw that one.
Vanilla Sky walked so Inception could run.
Yes, you heard that here first.
That's true. Watch those movies and you'll be like, wow.
I never.
It's like some
two
weird,
and two together.
It's dreams within dreams.
We should probably quote that somewhere.
Put that on the Vanilla Sky.
No, don't put it on the
material box. Put that on the steelbook.
I was just thinking maybe as an advertisement for this podcast.
They can use that on the Vanilla Sky 4K steelbook when they come up.
The pull quote from this whole conversation. What was it? Vanilla
Sky walked so Inception could run.
So you think they're like similar?
It's like Dreams Within Dreams. It's also Vanilla Sky. I wonder if it predates Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's another similar.
That's a close call. I think Vanilla Sky came first.
Of course it did.
So they're all three tied together. Maybe it's a trilogy. It's
secret.
It's an unknown secret trilogy.
The Dream Within Dreams trilogy.
What about Donnie Darko? Does that count in there?
That's a secret. That's the secret.
See, I've never actually seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, so I cannot comment. And it's been so long since I've seen Vanilla Sky that I can't draw the parallels to Inception.
And really, there's in Vanilla Sky, there's an Easter egg to
Donnie Darko.
No, Bob Dylan's most famous album cover where he's like walking with that girl. So A Complete Unknown is officially part of the Dream Within Dreams franchise. It's getting crazy.
Yeah. All right.
Little did we know.
Little did we know. So that's a lot. That's a lot of
movie.
film history facts for you in the first 7 minutes of this podcast that we didn't even know we were going to get to.
Yeah.
But very interesting. Very interesting.
So anyways, the stunts.
The stunts.
And we're just going to go... These are ranked in...
Take all night at this pace.
These are ranked in least likely he was to die is where we're starting, to most likely he was to die from each of these stunts.
All right. And I currently do not know the order. This was...
So you can argue. If you want.
I can argue.
Also, anytime he's on a motorcycle...
We did group that together as one. Except for...
Well, no, that's just outside of it.
Oh.
That's outside the list because we could...
Because he's always on a motorcycle.
He's always... Yeah, and he's never run
And I feel he's probably such an accomplished motorcycle rider at this point that he's not risking his life.
Yeah, to him it doesn't even cross his mind.
Doesn't even cross his mind.
Now, to the average Joe...
Yeah.
That would be pretty scary to be in that situation.
Yes, it would be. You ever been on a motorcycle and tried to see how fast it would go because you weren't thinking?
No, I haven't.
I did, and I was like, okay, I got to like 80 miles per hour and realized this is stupid.
Yeah.
I was just on a road by myself with nobody chasing me, nobody coming at me, and I was like, all right, this is stupid. That was one of the last times I rode a motorcycle.
I can't even
you could
believe
die
they let
at any moment.
Yeah, and he's like doing it in that big roundabout in England.
Yeah.
There's cars going every which way.
I think Chevy Chase is still in there. From European Vacation. Big Ben, Parliament.
Sure, Chevy
European
Chase.
Vacation.
Secretly, the Vacation franchise is also the Mission
That
Impossible.
would have been sweet if they just had that in the background. You just see that car go by, and if you pause and Chevy Chase's face is in there, that would have been awesome. That would have been an all-time Easter egg. That would have been sweet.
But anytime he's on a motorcycle is life-threatening. It's not on here.
Yeah, for the
and not
normal
every
person.
stunt he's done is on here either.
Yeah, obviously. We
just kind of picked
the major one from that movie because
Yeah.
they have become known for the stunt from that movie.
Yeah.
All
Alright, so starting off with Mission Impossible 1, the cable drop. This is the most iconic stunt he's done.
The most what?
Like the iconic,
It's the most
mission.
iconic shot. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't even know if it's a stunt.
This was considered a stunt for him back in... This is why it's least.
Obviously,
It was considered
First
a
of all,
stunt.
first of all, yeah. There's a blurry line if this is even considered a stunt.
Well, it's a... Listen, I probably was thinking the same thing you were. Oh, what, they drop him like 10 feet? On
yeah,
back?
what happens if he falls? What happens
dropping him
What happens if
40
this thing
feet.
goes the worst possible way it could? What happens?
But they were dropping him 40 feet.
So if it went right from the get-go, like if they did not attach the cables at all,
But think about...
at the top of the thing,
You're not thinking, bro, if you drop him 40 feet, that is coming down.
Right, yeah. But at that point, for him to drop the full 40 feet, they had to have not hooked the cables up at all and just said, okay, go.
Well, no, they dropped him 40 feet,
Yeah.
and they had it measured up, so he was lands
so
right.
like a bungee cord.
Yeah, so he lands right before the ground to get the shot.
Oh.
And there's a lot of balance because the harness is what you see in there is all he had. So it's on his
it's like real
midsection.
core workout.
Yeah, and so oftentimes it was said he lost. He wasn't able to fully balance himself because they just keep repeatedly dropping him. I guess they couldn't get this one in one take, and so he'd come down, lose balance, and hit his head, which could explain why.
Which could explain the rest of the stunts.
Yeah. So that's number one. They're dropping 40 feet.
All right, that obviously is the easiest one. Yeah, all right. But still, for him to die in that, it would have had to not been hooked up from the get-go.
Or it would have snapped.
But even if it
Or
snaps,
think
it's like slowing you down on the way down. And if you're halfway down of a 40-foot fall, and it snaps at 20 feet, it's only a 20 feet fall at 4
Dude,
feet.
you're going face first on the ground.
I think they would have...
Okay, let's drop you off of the 20 feet thing then. Let's see.
I think you got a chance at 20 feet.
Oh, yeah, you got a
I think
chance.
for that to have gone awry to kill him.
But
It almost would have had to throw him off with force into the ground from the full 40 feet. I don't think he's dying from this stunt.
think about this though. The cord, and it like kind of, what is that? Like a whiplash? Bam!
Yeah, you know.
That's what happened to Gwen Stacy.
That's what happened to Tua Tagovailoa.
Although,
And he's got a football helmet on. He's made of glass.
that's not even close.
Worst quarterback
He's
in the
getting
history.
Tackled.
Let's not even go on.
I'm saying
you're expecting to get hit, and you have full armor on.
But you know what I'm talking about? Like Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Famously, his spider web got her,
and
she cracked her neck.
Yeah,
and she's dead till this day.
still to this very day. That could happen.
That's absurd.
Yeah, in a comic book world, that's absurd. You figure they'd bring her back for a reboot or something.
Never.
Nope.
She's done.
Dead. All right, number 2.
Number 2, Mission Impossible 2. The famous knife to the eye. Now, this was a real knife with
And
a real guy.
And a real
with Tom Cruise's real eye. And the knife is being pulled back by yet another cord. But the actor trying to stab Tom Cruise was instructed, try to stab him. Push that
Put
down.
his weight on it.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, the cord will hold. This was a 1/4 inch from his eye. That's how close it was. And again, you're relying
So
on a
even like
cord.
the knot could slip a little, you know, like
Yeah,
tighten a
there's
little.
not-
That
yeah.
cord, you know, sometimes them things are a little flexible.
Yeah, they get a
you
little-
know, you-
Maybe this guy all of a sudden gets a surge of strength. Maybe he hates Tom Cruise. Maybe the cord guy hates Tom Cruise. Cuts it.
Maybe he accidentally
Kills
he's on
Tom
top
Cruise.
of him. No, what if he's on top of him, wrestling him, accidentally kicks him in the nuts, and he reacts and pops up. What happens then?
Knife through the eye.
Knife through the. So that knife is hanging from something, and that guy's leaning on it.
Yeah, and the cord's pulling back.
So I don't know if I ever knew that. Do they do that a lot? You think?
No, because no one's dumb enough to go, put this knife a 1/4 inch from my eye.
What? Yeah. What made them think to do that? How do they do that at other times? You think they just are totally like, here, it's a rubber dull knife, and let's make sure I'm just holding you like this, and nothing.
Yeah,
happens.
don't put any weight on it. Just
I'm just
kind of
gonna-
move your face.
Yeah, just go. I'm struggling.
Also, probably no one's ever like, let's get it that close. Let's get it 1/4 inch and hold it from your eye.
Yeah, that's
Rubber
messed
knife or
up.
not.
Rubber knife or not. Can you think about that for a second? A knife going in your eye.
Yeah, we were
And
a
at that
1/4 inch away from Tom Cruise having an eye patch.
Now that might be legendary. But
That would be actually crazy.
But think about that. That guy's leaning his body weight on it. If it does go wrong, you're not just losing an eye. That thing's going.
Yeah.
Right. It's going right through and stabbing the ground, right through both sides of your skull.
Yeah. So worst case or best case scenario, eye patch.
Best case scenario, eye patch.
But that'd be real. I mean, that would be something.
Yeah, you'd be tough. He had an eye patch in that one movie, didn't he?
What one movie?
He was a Nazi, or he was a soldier, Nazi soldier, but he betrayed the Nazis. I think. What was the name of that one?
I think he got his eyes plucked out in Minority Report.
Oh, to fake something.
Yeah.
We need that guy. Valkyrie. Is that what it was?
I've
think
never
it was.
seen that.
Oh, it's a good Tom Cruise one. It might be that one too where they do the Hitler meme, where they just have Hitler yelling about different things. Because Hitler's in this meeting and he's going ballistic about something, and then they just started making up. They would just put words in his mouth and he's yelling at everybody about any topic. You just see this. You see Hitler yelling at people, but the voiceover is just a rant about whatever. Those are good. You have to look those up. Those are some good ones. All right. So that was
That was number
that was
6.
more deadly than the drop. I'd say it's pretty deadly.
Both of those are equal because you're relying on a cable.
Yeah, but the consequences were much higher on the other one. You're going to survive a 40-foot fall.
I don't know if you would.
I think you got a good chance.
All right, that knife going through your head is
you're
more.
Done.
Yeah.
You're done.
All right. Well, here's number 3.
Number 3, but not from movie 3.
No, movie 3.
The
like we
Will to
said.
Live. That's what they should name that one. Mission Impossible 3. The Will to Live.
Tom Cruise doesn't do a dumb thing in this movie.
All right.
Mission Impossible Fallout, which is what I think the best one is, and this one is the Halo jump. Do you recall that? Him and CIA
Superman.
agent, yeah, John Walker, I think his name is.
That's Captain America.
I think this guy's name is Walker then.
I think it is too. It's probably John because that's what they name everybody.
But yeah, it's. Oh wait, no, maybe that. Okay, anyways, it's Superman.
Anyways, this is the one.
Henry Cavill, and they go running out of the plane and they jump. Now, obviously, Henry Cavill said, "I will not be actually halo jumping out of a plane."
Because obviously you can dress a stuntman who has such experience up and nobody will know the difference.
Yeah. Tom Cruise, however, said, "I'll do this." And this was shot multiple times over the course of the week. They jumped a total of 106 times because they had to get the lighting right to match up. So it's a combined, what we see in the movie is a combined of 3 of those 106
Wow.
jumps.
Wow. 106 jumps in a week? That might be some sort of record.
Oh, not in a week. This is including rehearsals. So no, not in a week, because they can only jump once.
A week?
Once a day, because they wanted to get the lighting right.
Oh, so
But they
yeah,
used
so they had-
3 shots.
Gotcha.
They used 3 different takes to combine the last.
To get what they got.
Yeah. And it was 25,000 feet down. Or up. But they jumped down. 25,000 feet.
But so why was this death defying?
Because they jumped 25,000 feet out of a bus. And he's got to act while also.
That's pretty crazy. You got to act while also.
And then the thing about it, if you recall that scene, he's got to grab onto Henry Cavill's
so this
character.
like legit happened? It wasn't like fake and.
No, the lightning they added was fake. They jumped through a lightning cloud.
Yeah, come on.
But he had to dive and act and grab onto the other guy.
Think about it. There's
Fix
some
his
camera-
uniform.
Think about that job.
The cameraman also. Yeah.
Like that's not a regular he's probably not out filming like a soap opera.
No,
he's
probably Tom Cruise's cameraman.
Yeah, he probably is. But he has to have had for you to be filming that. You have to be an expert parachute guy. He's probably that's probably his only job is to film parachute scenes in movies.
Oh, and that's the other thing. Tom Cruise can't run into him.
Yeah. So you got to be.
Because if you watch that scene, there's a lot of times where
they're coming right at
Tom
you.
Cruise goes right in the camera, and they have to gauge all of that stuff.
He probably
midair
did crash into him,
and
but they just cut it before that.
No, if you crash into him, like you're done. Is the thing because
If
that
you
will
get
mess up
knocked out.
everything. Yeah. So they're acting while.
That's crazy.
I mean, Tom Cruise is obviously acting during all of these,
Right.
and this is number 4 most dangerous.
Number 3 most well. All right.
Number 3 least dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think that cameraman, it's like that picture of in New York when they're building the skyscraper, they show them guys.
Sitting on the beam.
There's a dude taking a picture of that.
Yeah.
He's just standing on a beam.
Taking a picture.
So you got your face in a camera in those days. It wasn't like now.
Yeah, you can't sit
He's
there.
probably got a hood over his head inside a camera. So he don't even know what, how imbalancing that would be?
Yeah.
And they're just standing around. So I feel like this guy deserves some credit too.
Yeah.
This camera guy. He's got to be a good enough parachuter that he can also be a good enough cameraman while parachuting.
Yeah, and he's also got to make sure he doesn't run into Tom Cruise.
That's what I'm saying.
There's just 3 bodies in the air.
I think his
Real
job is
close.
harder than Tom Cruise. He's carting around a camera.
Oh yeah, for
Tom
sure.
Cruise got his hands, he got to do his thing.
Yeah.
This guy's like flying around, free
You know what?
falling
And he
with
probably is
camera.
making sure he's getting the shot.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
not even
looking around.
He's got to be that guy. He should get a list.
How does that even work?
Yeah, he's got it. Maybe he's got.
How does he pull a parachute? And that's the other thing too.
You know,
apparently,
that camera's got to be tied to
decide.
him somehow.
Yeah,
I think you could just like drop it, kill somebody, lose the footage.
That's the other thing too. Apparently, they had to just kind of gauge where they were at to pull the parachute. Like in the scene, they have a little AI voice going, "Pull parachute, pull parachute."
Yeah,
they don't have that in real life.
Yeah, because you could get caught up in the filming.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a shot, man. Splat.
I'm talking about parachute.
Oh, what's going on? Nope, too late for me.
So yeah.
All right, yeah, I think that's an impressive when you start to think about that. And see, in today's day and age, a lot of times I will, if the movie's not very good, I start thinking about like how they shoot it and what they're doing, what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And you would just think, it's CGI now.
Yeah, who knows?
You would just be like, who
That
cares?
is the gripe with that scene for me. They add this lightning cloud they go through,
which
They really didn't need that at all.
Probably didn't need it. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you don't need the lightning cloud.
We're doing enough.
Yeah, we're doing enough.
All right.
All right,
What is this?
This would be number 4.
Number 4. This is from Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation clinging to the Airbus as it's taking off.
So this is the opening scene.
Yeah, this is at the opening of Rogue Nation. We can't get the doors open. We gotta get on the plane.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise jumps on the plane.
Benji.
He's always messing up.
I would be had it with that guy. He's always like getting you to the place.
Just
You're
barely.
trusting him. Yeah, first of all, he barely gets you there, but then he gets you there, and it's not what you're expecting.
It's not
You're hanging on the outside of a plane, or you got to jump off a cliff in a motorcycle.
Yeah. You know what? He might be a secret villain.
It
could be revealed.
It could be revealed.
That would be a twist.
So that would be.
But this is, again, they just strapped him to the side of that plane. Tom Cruise is really
Strapped.
holding on.
Wait, he's not strapped on?
He's strapped on, but he also, he's holding there.
Because he's got to hold on.
No safety equipment. He just had to put these
Those
contacts in.
Oh.
He has no goggles in the scene. He's wearing contacts because his eyes would have dried out.
Because it just...
Yeah, the plane takes off. He's clinging onto it in the air. It's top speed.
What possesses you to want to do this?
But at its top speed, it's 206 miles per hour. It's flying. He's on the side of the plane just...
Yeah, I mean, you can tell he's like you can't fake that. If you watch the movie, you know. You know what I mean? If he's in a studio just hanging on something that's not moving and they're blowing you with a fan, it doesn't look the same.
No, there's some... Yeah.
But knowing technology and filmmaking abilities of the day, why would you go, let's do
Let's
that?
just try it. And who even was able to put together everything you would need? How would you even know all the variables needed to make sure you're safe?
I mean, yeah, there's a camera mounted right in front of you, obviously.
Yeah.
That's just mounted.
Yeah, that could come flying
Probably
off.
2 or 3, yeah, they could come flying off.
But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, put these
But you
contacts
think if he
on.
lets go, too, like, you're probably strapped, but if you let go, you're just bouncing
you're
against
done for.
Bouncing against the plane. And it's not like they can stop that thing. It's not like a car.
Yeah, it can't.
You can't just pull over the side of the road real quick.
It's in the air. It's got to do like a loop around.
You're gonna be. If you go unconscious, you're
I wonder how
unconscious
long-
for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, beating against the plane.
I wonder how long even...
Yeah, how long? Yeah, because it's not
Again, you can't just stop it. He has to like actually hang there.
for like probably 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just because.
You wanted to try it.
I got the 2-second shot we need. Now let's go land this thing. I'll be here for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What was the one previous we were just talking to? I feel like I don't feel like the odds for death is this high on that one.
What are you talking about? So between the halo jump and hanging
I feel
off
like the
side-
halo jump would be more death defying because
There's no way. Think about a halo jump. They have that down. People have been.
we just
doing
said they could crash into each other. You could lose track. You might, but I feel like the parachute would be much more dangerous. The parachute could not even open. That's just a flat out. That's from the get go. That could just happen, regardless of filming or who you are. parachute could just not open. You're on that plane, you're strapped on. Even if you fall unconscious or something, and dude,
if you're beating against that plane, that is gonna break your skull.
probably.
And if not that, then your legs
It's not
are flailing
automatic
there.
death, though. Yeah, so you might be in a wheelchair.
All right, fine. Then they're switch, official switch.
I mean, just if something goes wrong on the halo jump, you're not coming back from that. Like
So you're saying that would be the
anything
most
goes
dangerous.
wrong, you're dead.
Yeah.
Any of the things that could go wrong that cause that to be deadly, like there's no, like the fall of the 40-foot, something goes wrong. There's lots of variations. Broken leg, could be dead, could be paralyzed, could be a couple weeks in the hospital. The knife through the skull, you at least have some variation. Even if the thing breaks, he could like skin off the side of your face. There's variations of what could happen, and some of them involve you living.
Yeah.
The parachute,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
if it goes wrong, there's no variation. You're either totally flat or just flat and dead, splat.
Yeah.
The airplane, something could go wrong and you get knocked unconscious.
So what about
and
this
you're flailing on the side
What
of the
about
plane.
this then?
It could, the strap could come off and you could die. You know what I mean? I feel like there's variations of.
So what about this then? Tom Cruise driving a motorcycle off a mountainside, letting go of the motorcycle. Motorcycle crashes and explodes. And you got to skydive in one of those squirrel suits through a mountain ravine.
Well, this is coming up, right? We're not skipping right to the end, are we?
No, this is the next one.
Oh, this is the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And landing on a train.
They
Okay, they
didn't
didn't land on
really
a
do
train.
that, did they?
They didn't land on a train. But
Did
the
he
rest
really?
of
Did he really go flying through the ravine in a squirrel suit? Is that what that's called?
I don't know what it's called. That's what it looks
Flying
like.
squirrel
The
suit.
flying squirrel suit. And again, there was a cameraman recording all of that who also jumped. Not off a motorcycle.
Yeah, he's just.
But he was like there.
He was a hang glider probably or something. Yeah, so this camera guy, I want to.
And I think
He's not getting enough credit.
The camera guy just had it
on his head.
Yeah, like a GoPro almost. So he just has flying around. Pretty much, he doesn't know if he's getting.
How many times do you think they shot that?
There's little to no information about the motorcycle jump. There's like a video on it.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
But yeah, I mean, he really does just drive right off. I mean, in the motorcycle, you can see it like drops and explodes.
Yeah.
They just had to get a new motorcycle every time.
At this point, who cares? Who got the money for that? That's in the budget.
But do you think that's more dangerous than halo jump? That's probably like equal because again, that is just
No.
parachute.
I'm gonna say it's less dangerous than the halo
Really?
jump. Well, because you're in a squirrel suit. So that does not mean you're automatically falling straight down. Something could go wrong, and you could drift.
He's not in a squirrel suit, I don't think. Actually, now that I think about the movie,
We need to really find out what the real name of this is. No, he doesn't. He.
because doesn't he just pull a parachute?
He does pull a parachute because the parachute drags him out the window or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's just doing the thing where he's flying.
Oh, that's yeah. So he's just flying.
Because
so
he
no
does.
squirrel suit.
No, they had a hang glider parachute.
All right.
No
Yeah.
squirrel suit.
No squirrel suit. Maybe the camera guy was in a squirrel
Yeah,
suit.
we got the camera guy was in the squirrel.
So okay, this is more dangerous then because he doesn't have a squirrel suit to slow him down. And I think this drop, that being quicker,
yeah.
like you don't have as much
The-
distance.
Yeah, the danger factor.
Increases when you don't have as much time to pull your parachute.
Yeah.
And you're starting on a motorcycle.
And you're trying to act the whole time.
And you're starting on a motorcycle
And you're
driving
starting on
off
a
the side of a
motorcycle.
mountain.
Yeah.
Instead of the conventional we're jumping out of a plane.
Alright, so yeah, I rank that higher.
Alright.
Or worse, however you want to say it.
Okay. What about this?
What about this?
Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. This is Mission Impossible 4. Tom Cruise has the death wish again. After lackluster Mission Impossible 3. And he said, I gotta go big. I'm gonna climb the tallest building in the world.
Yeah.
The Burj Khalifa. It is 2,722 feet tall. And Tom Cruise is actually on the side of it climbing half a mile in the air. And he's climbing on the side. Again, obviously there's a harness. But he is filming all of that, including the part where, if you remember, the glove fails and he kind of falls.
Yeah.
He really fell.
How did they film that?
They said, okay, Tom Cruise, once you get here, fall like your glove just failed.
How did they, like, so obviously he's on the outside of that building in real life.
Yeah.
In the movie, they have these pretend gloves and shoes that attach him to the side of the building.
Spider-Man, essentially.
Spider-Man, essentially. Spider suit. He should have worn a squirrel suit in case something went wrong and he could have hang glided to the next building. But, you know, I mean, how did they keep, you know, how is he stuck to the building?
It's just a harness and he's just climbing.
But he's got to look like he's, how do you...
I don't think he had any on his feet in the movie. I think he just had the gloves, and then obviously the one fails, and I think he gets rid of the other one fairly quickly.
Yeah, and then he's just on his own.
He really is just like climbing in between like the windowsills. Remember?
Nuts.
That's the tallest building in the world.
That's nuts. Think about being a half mile. Like you probably can't go anywhere. You probably can't go anywhere and see a half mile down the road straight.
Yeah.
And that's how high he was up.
Yeah. And there's a famous picture, I don't know if you've seen it, where he's sitting on the top of it.
Yeah.
And he's just, there's
like,
no harness, no nothing. For some reason, Tom Cruise doesn't even have shoes on in this picture. And he's sitting on the very top of it. And other celebrities have tried to replicate this. They're harnessed, they're wearing a helmet, they're scared.
What's a helmet going to do for you at that point?
They're like, you can
get rid of the helmet.
There's fear in their eyes, they're like doing that weird smile.
Harness, I understand. What is a helmet going to do for you?
Tom Cruise, he was just up there, laughing, having a good time.
Yeah, there's got to be a screw loose.
His feet in
like,
the wind.
Have you ever been up on high on somebody, not even that, obviously not that high, but you like look over the edge and get a little, ooh.
Yeah, this is a little too high.
Like it's not even, but in, like I don't know what the highest I've ever been up in, like
not that
40
high.
feet, 80 feet, not that high. So obviously if something goes wrong here, this is...
You're falling. You're falling, and you're
falling.
backup.
You know what? Yes, and this is, I think, from a mental perspective, this is worse. Because if you're falling off that building, you have in your mind, you know you're dead. However long it takes you to get to the ground, you know there's no chance for survival.
And on top of it all, you know you got yourself in this situation.
But
I wanted to climb the tallest building in the world.
Look at me. But if you fall with a parachute, you have a little hope all the way down that somehow this parachute's going to open and save you.
Yeah, it will open.
It's going to open. Or
if you jump out of the plane, you could like look and see if there's a mire nearby.
A mire.
That's what you gotta look for, because the lakes and that stuff is hard as a rock.
So you gotta go for the mire? The mire's softer than the water?
Yeah, because it's not as deep. I swear, it's not as deep, so it continues to rustle. What is that? Like ripple?
I think you're making stuff up.
No, I'm being serious. Like the lakes and stuff, they get stagnant because they're so deep. They don't have enough movement on the surface, so when you hit the surface, it's like hitting a cement.
Yeah, cement.
That's why you gotta throw a brick before you go jumping. Is
that what they say? You just got stuff up.
I swear, that's why you gotta throw a brick before you go jumping in the.
So what you're saying is
in the quarries.
When next time I go parachute jumping is bring
if your parachute.
Bring a brick.
No.
So that way, as I'm about to fall,
you fall faster than the brick because you weigh more.
What if I throw it?
You just. That's what it looks like.
No, throw it.
Yeah,
it has force.
Dude, you don't have force in your... Okay, all right. You know what?
You're making stuff up.
I'm not making stuff up. Aim for the marshes if you're parachuting.
Aim for the marshes, people, if you're parachuting.
So, and Tom Cruise probably knows that because they probably parachute
I'm sure he does. Yeah, it's probably like, yeah.
There's no marsh down there. It's like the desert, first of all. It's like a city in the desert.
Yeah,
so it's like a cement block.
Are we at the city? Where are we at right now? Are we still at the building? Where are we at in this conversation?
He's climbing the side of the building.
So it's a city.
Yeah,
there's no marsh
block down there.
What about a pool? The pool's not that deep. Could he land in a pool?
Yeah.
On one of the other buildings, if there was a rooftop pool on one of the other buildings, he would have a chance.
Okay, what are you talking about? The buildings aren't this close together.
He's not.
He has no ability to.
He's got to have some ability.
No, he's just climbing the side of a building.
All right, he's dead. There's no chance.
Yeah.
psychologically, mentally, or emotionally. But if you have the parachute and it doesn't open, even if it takes you 10 seconds, I think you still have 9 seconds of hope. Probably with 1 second to impact, you realize that's not going to happen for you.
And the odds are there's a marsh that you can find.
If you're parachuting.
Yeah, not if you're
in the city climbing building. No marsh.
a city in the middle of the desert.
No marsh.
Deserts famously don't have water.
Famously.
So there won't be a marsh.
Okay, so that's number 2.
Yeah.
What could be worse than that?
Well, in Mission Impossible Fallout, the best Mission Impossible, at the end...
I thought we already did Fallout.
Yeah, but remember we didn't do one for 3.
Okay, so we're doing 2.
Because 3 was the one to live.
Oh, we did do the... Okay, alright, go ahead.
Yeah, so in Mission Impossible Fallout, the finale is the bad guy is getting away. And he's going to nuke Tom Cruise's
Fallout was
wife's...
a good one. Yeah, it was a good one.
He's going to nuke Tom Cruise's wife's
Village, hospital,
whatever
little mission, whatever she's doing.
And again,
helping the children.
Tom Cruise shows up with the agent lady, and then he's talking to his wife, and it takes you a moment. It takes you until they're in the same room.
Yeah,
to figure out what's going on. It's very strange.
I wonder why they cast them like that. Because they are very similar.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to figure out that there's two different actresses.
Yeah, it's like...
Why
is he
the first
explaining
time
this to her?
Yeah, the
she
first
knows what's
time
going on.
the first time that the wife appeared in the movie, they had flashbacks with her, and I couldn't figure out. It's just the wife. What's going on?
The wife was cast, I think, in like
earlier on
in 3 at least,
Yeah.
maybe 1 and 2. I don't remember.
Probably the casting director just likes that type of girl.
Somebody check in on that guy.
All right.
Anyways, so to stop this from happening, Tom Cruise climbs on top of the bomb, or clings onto the bomb, and is being lifted off in the air via helicopter.
Long rope with a giant long rope or chain or whatever.
And so he has to climb up the bomb, up the rope, onto the helicopter, into the helicopter, to which the stunt continues because Tom Cruise actually is flying the helicopter through that valley of ravines.
He's actually piloting the helicopter?
Yes.
He's a helicopter pilot?
Of course he is.
Wow.
He flies those jets in Top Gun. Maverick. Probably not Top Gun 1. He probably still was like, I'm so young, I have a career ahead of me. I don't need to fly.
He actually flies the jets in real life?
Yeah.
He's just flying them by, like he could go fly a jet right now by himself.
Yes. He probably has a plane. I think he made all those poor kids in Top Gun Maverick learn how to fly.
I'm just trying to act, man.
And they actually have to fly.
Plane.
Like the one guy actually goes
Think about
unconscious.
that. Like there's people like that's their job and that's what they do. He's doing it on the side because I want a movie. And I also can write because he is an actor like that. Like I'm sure he drove cars when he was in that. What was that one called? Days of Thunder. Good movie. So I'm sure he was driving those cars at top speed like a NASCAR guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's driving those motorcycles like legit crazy motorcycles.
Yeah.
Flying planes, flying helicopters, jumping out of planes.
Hanging on the side of the world's tallest building.
Man, this guy.
He's a stand-up guy.
Stand-up guy. All right, so he's climbing the chain. Yeah, I feel like a lot could go wrong.
He falls off. He falls down that.
Again, not CGI.
No, not with Tom Cruise.
That's
you know
crazy.
How crazy a movie with him and Christopher Nolan would be.
And
they just don't use CGI.
And
like, there's rumors that Christopher Nolan is learning the dark arts to summon real monsters for the Odyssey.
And what's the guy's name? Jackie Chan.
Get through Jackie Chan.
Because he does all his own stunts.
He does karate. Like the most dangerous thing.
Jumps off. You ever see his reels? His blooper reels?
Was he jumping off like a rock wall?
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy jumping out of a plane with no parachute.
But mix that with Jackie Chan.
What's Jackie Chan gonna do? Yeah, Tom Cruise, I'm gonna jump off this building.
I don't know, man.
Is there safety pads down there for me?
It just would be a good. It would just be a good fight scene. Jackie Chan, Tom Cruise.
It'd be like Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris.
That's not even a thing. That was people just.
That was a thing.
I mean, it happened, but obviously Bruce Lee was playing down and just.
Listen,
Which I don't know how. Think if Bruce Lee was still alive. You know how they have that Chuck Norris fought a shark and the shark, whatever. You know, Chuck Norris doesn't. Whatever. Bruce Lee was so far ahead of him. What would those jokes be? Bruce Lee was like, I don't know what.
He was
compared
like
to
real
Chuck
life.
Norris.
He was like a real life
He was double Chuck Norris.
superhero.
So if the Chuck Norris jokes are at that level, what would the Bruce Lee joke
Like
be?
Bruce Lee beat the ping pong champion
I don't think that's
by
real.
playing with nunchucks.
I don't think that's real.
That's
but it's
real, bro. That's
But-
real.
No, it's not.
They have footage of it,
And
and that was before AI.
Did you see the footage of the? Yeah, it was before AI.
So I think he really
It was
was.
in black and white.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They,
But that's
they
not
can't.
real.
How is that not real,
I don't think that's real.
dude?
Did you see the one with the lightsabers though? The
I
nunchuck
showed you
lightsabers?
that. I showed you that.
That was sweet.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, we've fallen way off the main thread here.
Yeah. So, anyways, he really is hanging on the side of the bomb, and he climbs all the way up this rope, climbs onto the helicopter.
I don't know where, because obviously this long string and they're flying through the thing, so it's all flying back and forth. But again, I feel like he's strapped to it. So there's a measure of safety.
I know.
He's doing it all.
Well, I think the bigger part of the stunt is that he climbs into the helicopter and starts flying it through this ravine.
You know, that's got to be something too, because you see people like that's a common stunt. That's a common movie trope. People climbing onto the helicopter.
But he actually did.
Right. In all of those, like even like you go back to old TV shows and stuff, you can tell there's a cameraman standing on the ground. You know what I mean?
And they just
you
kind of have it hooked up on a rig.
Yeah,
to
you
move
can
it.
tell. Like you can tell it's fake. And even you go to movies now, it doesn't look as fake, but you know it's not a real helicopter. It's like probably up on a tower, and they got some. There's probably a rotor going to give it an effect. It's not real.
Yeah, but this is real. And he does like
So
really
that is
fly
pretty impressive.
through that ravine, chasing another helicopter, which makes more danger because there's just all the different updrafts and whatnot. And he's got.
I feel like that's dangerous, but flying a helicopter, like he didn't actually do it right after he actually climbed.
We don't
did all
know
this. You know what I mean? He's probably slept all night, had a good night's sleep, takes off in the helicopter, piloting it, and then goes through the thing, which he's practiced many times. I don't feel like that's that dangerous. I mean, there's a danger factor.
Okay, but this is all one stunt.
But I'm saying, I mean, you're viewing it as one stunt, but I don't feel...
Okay, it's one stunt with two parts, but think about climbing on that bomb.
Yeah, I think that's
that
very
helicopter.
dangerous. But again, there's a lot that could go wrong that doesn't result in you dying. Because he is
What are you
strapped.
talking about? If he falls off a moving helicopter flying...
But there is some strapping going on.
But, yeah, okay, there's also some parachute going on with the other one. If the parachute goes wrong, the strap can go wrong.
All right. I guess that's a equitable
You know what I mean?
danger item. Yeah. Yeah.
And this is like if you run into something,
Yeah, it could run into
it's
something.
not like a person who will like bump away.
No, you're done.
You run
Bump
into like
into
a helicopter, or
The
you
wall.
hold onto that helicopter and your grip slips. Because again, then you're just falling. There's not even a chance of a parachute or something.
He's strapped.
What are you talking? I'm saying
He's not ever just gonna fall. There's always gonna be something. Unless you're out there in the parachute.
I guess,
There's no
yeah.
safety net.
Look at this. This is him playing the nunchuck.
We can't go on to that right now. We don't have a guy to put up the footage.
I'm gonna show you that's real.
I just don't know if it's real.
That's real.
I don't think it's real.
Dude, that's real.
Alright.
January
anyhow.
1st, 2009. People weren't even.
I think he died in the 60s or something.
Well, it's not from January 2009. The footage I'm watching means there's no AI back then, bro.
In 2009, there was no AI?
No, AI is like fresh on the scene, just making stuff up.
I don't know.
They can't fake
Alright, anyway. Alright, so we basically agree on the list here or what?
Yeah, so
We're probably
the
running
new
over.
official list is Mission Impossible Fallout, Mission Impossible Fallout. Either way. those are the top 2 most dangerous things he's
Because that was the halo jump and the helicopter.
Yeah, that was a 2-for-1.
Yes.
And yet both of those were highly overshadowed by the fact that that was the movie where he's running across the rooftops and he jumps and his ankle just snaps.
Just snaps trying to jump.
And that was what
That's
got
probably a more impressive physical feat.
He got up and finished that take.
He did. You could see him limp off the scene.
Yeah.
But jumping across that thing, that's a pretty
Full
impressive.
sprint, yeah.
Yeah.
And those are like the little nooks that he does within the bigger stunts.
Yeah, there's
The little ones that are just like...
See, that's what Jackie Chan would do. He would jump across there.
Okay, that would be like Jackie Chan would be like, oh, I jumped across the building. That would be their big stunt for the Jackie Chan movie. That's like Tom Cruise. No one would even think that.
Yeah, that's even the stunt.
Yeah, no one in their right mind would go, oh, Tom Cruise made a movie. The big stunt is him jumping from building to building. They'd spit in Tom Cruise's face.
They spit in his face.
If that was his big stunt. If they released Mission Impossible 3 today, people would spit on Tom Cruise. They'd be like, this is
garbage.
ridiculous.
What is this? A kid's show?
Where's the part where you almost die? Unless all these bullets start getting shot, you are real bullets.
That could be the next thing. If there's a Mission Impossible 9, he might just be like, screw it. Just shoot at me. Here's a fully loaded gun. Shoot it.
Here's a minigun.
Shoot at me.
There's also a few other stunts. Rogue Nation, where he goes underwater in that tunnel to replace the key cards. He really held his breath for 7 minutes.
See, why?
But also, I don't feel like that's that dangerous. Because I feel like that wasn't really an enclosed underwater thing.
Right, he could come up for air if he needed to.
But yeah, they're like, oh, let's see how long.
And you know there's people there ready to get him.
Yeah. Oh, let's see how long you hold your breath. Like, that's really what that is. Kids in the pool.
Yeah, kids. Come on.
Yeah. That's why you need to hang on the side of that plane.
Yeah. Alright, so Fallout.
Dead Reckoning.
Which was what? Motorcycle. Yeah, that's pretty. And those are all kind of the same sort of thing because it's flying through the air.
Yeah. And then Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Climbing up the skyscraper. What, you don't like that?
I don't know. This is all very, very. Did I not say that I thought that might be the worst? There's no parachute.
Oh, that one? You think that one is higher than the other ones?
I don't know. I think you're splitting hairs.
I mean, yeah, probably splitting hairs. Yeah. Then there's Rogue Nation hanging on the side of the plane.
Yeah. Compared to the other ones, I don't feel like that's up there.
Yeah, and then it's Knife to Eye. And then Mission Impossible 1, falling 40 feet.
It's a pretty big jump. It's a pretty big jump. All right. Well, let us know what you think in the comments, or if you have any other ones you'd like to add to the mix, let us know in the comments. Like, follow, and share at Sandusky Soda Pops on eBay, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks for watching.